Yeah. Hey. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another Aurora Legends Top 5. I know it's been a while, but I can finally publish this next video, and it is a Top 5 on Lancelot slash Elliot. So this is my first duo Top 5, but I felt that it was necessary for this video because Lancelot and Elliot share a special relationship. So without further ado, enjoy this Top 5. Okay, so for number 1, we're going to talk about a core difference between Elliot and Lancelot's personalities. Now, Elliot is the Grandmaster of the church, and unlike his brother Lancelot, Lancelot is an idealist that believes that whatever the church does is the correct and right movement, even if it might seem immoral or incorrect in the situation. And Elliot is more of a realist in the sense that compared to Lancelot, Elliot realizes that sometimes the church does actions that we would consider bad or immoral, and he vows to change this by rising to the top of the church and removing the corruption starting from the top all the way down to the bottom. And so Lancelot doesn't see this at first like Elliot, in the sense that Lancelot believed that whatever the church did was the correct and proper path. However, since Lancelot has a strong sense of justice, he realizes quickly that the church was only really in it for itself, in the sense that the members and stuff, they weren't doing what was best for the people or for the religion, they were in it for themselves. And so Lancelot leaves the church before he can become exiled, and he goes on a path to find the ultimate justice. And then Elliot, with the rise of a new pontiff, who you know as Isabel, Elliot climbs the way to the top of the church, and he and Isabel pave a path so that they can get rid of the corruption inside the church. Number 4 is about the Queen of the Arena and also Elliot's partner in this game, and that is the Valkyrie, Brunhilde. Now, Brunhilde plays an important part in Elliot and Lancelot's storyline because both of them actually interact with her. So Lancelot, in this case, when Lancelot was on his journey, he actually ends up going against Brunhilde in the arena, and believe it or not, Brunhilde keeps her undefeated streak alive and beats Lancelot. And because Brunhilde beats Lancelot, this causes Lancelot to go back to the church, and he becomes the best warrior working under his brother Elliot. And so Elliot and Brunhilde share a connection because due to the Adventurers Guild and the church working together to fight against the demons, Brunhilde meets Elliot, and Elliot and Brunhilde, they pretty much click. So it's more or less because of their team skills, but Brunhilde helps Elliot because Brunhilde gives Elliot skill boosts, which means that Elliot can heal more, he can also tank more, but in the lore part of the story, Brunhilde fights Elliot, and it's said that it was pretty much a tie. So Elliot in this game, he's pretty much considered like one of the strongest heroes that works for the humans in this game, and I mean this from a lore standpoint. But yeah, because him and Brunhilde share a connection, as well as a connection with Lancelot, she's a very key character to be in this top 5. Alright guys, so for number 3, we're going to talk about the differences between Elliot and Lancelot's skill effects. So quickly getting into it, Elliot and Lancelot both have the same fundamental, and they both have a status effect called martial skill. And what martial skill does is that for Elliot, it increases his damage, and for Lancelot, it increases his team's damage reduction. So it's kind of interesting because their martial skill effect is actually the opposite of how the characters are, because Elliot is what I like to call a single enemy tank, in the sense that Elliot is best when the enemy team is only attacking one person and not the people behind him. And then Lancelot is the other way around. Lancelot is best when you're going against teams that attack multiple enemies, because Lancelot increases his own dodge, he lowers the enemy's accuracy, and he also gives all of your allies damage reduction so that you take overall less damage. But so looking at Elliot's skills, so Elliot has 3 skills. He has 2 tank type skills and he has 1 damage skill. So his first skill increases your defense by 35% or 150% for Elliot only, and it also gives him a martial skill. Now his second skill is best in the middle parts of battles or the end parts of battles, and what it does is that it does damage to all enemies, and whenever he has martial skills, it increases the damage by 80% per martial skills. Elliot's third skill is the skill that heals him, and this one is pretty OP. So what it does is that it heals you by either 75 or 200% of Elliot's attack strength, and that becomes HP that he regens. So basically from what I've learned is that because Elliot is more of a defensive tank, you want to focus on his first and third skill, even though his passive and his second skill has some pretty good damage upside. However, from what I've read, you don't want to build Elliot as a damage tank because overall it will weaken him towards the end game for Aurora Legend. So yeah, when you're building up Elliot and awakening him, make sure you focus on the first and third skill. And also, another thing too is that if you get the legendary rune sets for Elliot, it will increase the amount of HP he can heal, and it also increases the passive damage effect. Another thing too is that if you partner him up with Brunhilde, it will also increase the percentiles of all the skills. So he can take more damage, he can deal more damage with his second skill, and he can also heal even more HP with his third skill. Now if we look at Lancelot, as I said before, is pretty much the opposite of what his martial skill is. So it's kind of funny because so with Lancelot, he starts with 4 martial skills. And what the martial skill does is that it increases the defense of all teammates by 40% whenever he has one. However, as he uses his skills, he loses his martial effect. So basically, he's good early mid-game, but towards the end, he starts to fall off a little bit. But so Lancelot is best used against AoE teams, and the reason why is because, yeah, what his third skill does is that his third skill increases his damage, but also gives the enemy bleeding, the enemy that's in front of him. With his second skill, he also decreases the enemy's normal attack hit percentage by 30%. And this is important because he can lower the enemy's accuracy, but he can also increase his own evasiveness. So he can not be hit by the enemy that's in front, and if the enemy that isn't in front on the opponent's team is a DPS unit, then he probably won't get hit by that unit because he'll be dodging his attacks like Hayate does. And so another thing too is that because his passive gives all of your allies damage reduction, as well as his first skill, which increases your allies' damage reduction, in this case it increases 2 of your allies, so the ones that are behind him, then your team as a whole will take a lot less damage with Lancelot in the front. However, if Lancelot's going against a team that focuses on one, in this case Lancelot, they focus on Lancelot himself, and there's a tank blocking those 2 DPS, Lancelot will probably get defeated, and that is what you not want. So yeah, make sure that you use Lancelot against area of effect teams that attack multiple enemies, and use Elliot against single attack teams. And then Lancelot can also combo with Brunhilde in the sense that, like Brunhilde can help Lancelot's with skill boosts because she helps with martial skills. However, Lancelot does not have a skill combo with Brunhilde, and Elliot does. So please keep that in mind when you're building the team. Alright guys, so for number 4, we're going to talk about Elliot and Lancelot's team chemistry. So starting with Elliot, I can tell you that Elliot works best with his partner, and that is Brunhilde. And of course, the reason why they work the best together is because Elliot's passive and his group skills benefit from Brunhilde's group martial skill boosts. So Brunhilde has a similar effect to Elliot. I can't exactly go in depth about her skills because she hasn't been released yet, but let's just say that her and Elliot work well together because they both have the same type of effect. And in this case, Brunhilde increases the martial skill effects, which means she can really increase Elliot. Another thing too is that Elliot has a skill combo with Brunhilde, and they also have a triple skill combo with a unit that hasn't been released yet and is also not in the wiki, so I can't talk about him yet, but I can tell you that he'll probably be coming out sometime this summer. And so Elliot, Brunhilde, and this third unit, they're considered a pretty powerful team. I believe that out of 5 stars, they're pretty much given like a 4-star. And yeah, Elliot seems to work best when he's with Brunhilde, and he works okay with Victoria Miho. It will last you for a pretty good while if you have a well-invested Victoria team as well as Elliot. But Elliot with Brunhilde is definitely the best for that character. Now, for Lancelot, Lancelot is a bit different. So Lancelot also works with Brunhilde, however, they don't have a skill combo. Now, you can use Lancelot with Brunhilde and it'll be just as good as Elliot, but you won't have those invincible skill combos in which that you attack them first, which means that you won't have those, those chances, because, skill combos can really change the game in the sense that because you don't get attacked while you're using them, and what I mean by skill combos, I mean the ones that, it has the little cutscene effect. So when you don't get attacked when you use those, so therefore you can, do a little bit more damage than what you would with the team with no skill combos. So even though Lancelot and Brunhilde work pretty well, Brunhilde is actually more for Elliot than she is Lancelot. Instead, you can use Lancelot with a couple other teams and he'll be just as good and probably even better. So Lancelot works as a tank, so does Jack, but Lancelot I definitely would recommend using as a tank with Victoria and Miho. And the reason why is because his damage reduction on top of Miho's healing and Victoria's curse spam and, attack damage is pretty insane. That team will survive a long time. There isn't a lot of teams that can take out Lancelot, Victoria, and Miho together. As long as your runes are set up, and especially if you have damage boost, if you have a damage boost level 7 rune setup on Victoria, the damage is literally insane. Another thing too is that Lancelot can also be used as a swap out for a couple other tank teams, and this includes the Hayate Dracula team. So you can use Lancelot with Hayate and Dracula. You can also use Lancelot with Ophelia and Lycoris if you don't have Michaela. And so Lancelot, his damage reduction is just so helpful, as well as his dodge effect, and that is why it is recommended that you go after his third and first skills first. And then so Lancelot, overall, I would probably say that Lancelot is a little bit better when it comes to team chemistry than Elliot, just because Elliot only really seems to benefit from Brunhilde, while Lancelot is a little bit more versatile. Last but not least, guys, for number 5, we have Elliot and Lancelot's shared voice actor, who is Hiro Shimono. And so Hiro Shimono has been acting since about 2002, so about 17 or 18 years, and he's played several main character roles in pretty popular anime. So he's played Akihisa Yoshi in Bakatu Test, who is a very funny character. He has played Connie Springer, who is a supporting actor in Attack on Titan, and he's also played Dabi, who is a supporting villain in Boku no Hero Academia. And so if you look at those characters, one thing that you'll notice is that they all have rather soft voices, but he's played different characters of different ages with that voice, and they also sound, pretty different in the sense that you might be able to tell that it's the same actor just because of the tone of his voice, but the way that he expresses and the way that he sounds is a little bit different when you look at his roles in other animes. And so he has also played as Raishin in Machine Doll, and he's also played Haruhiko in Musagen no Phantom World. And yeah, he's been doing a lot of support roles as well. He's been in the business. He does about 10 animes a year or so, and he's in one of those few memorable voices that are in this game. A list of many voices that you might recognize if you watch those series. But I also think it's cool that how Lancelot and Elliot, even though they're brothers, they have the same voice. So that's kind of a unique thing that you don't see every day. Hey everyone, I just wanted to say thank y'all very much for watching my newest top 5 video on Aurora Legend. It took me, a couple hours, and oh my goodness, the amount of mistakes I made while I was doing the edits was just amazing. So I just want to let y'all know that more videos are going to be coming. I have been constantly working on new top 5 videos, as well as some videos for some other games that I plan on publishing soon. And yeah, I've been really having a lot of fun with this, and I'm really thankful for everyone that's left some comments or has, given me some likes, as well as my subscribers. I mean, thank you all very much. I really appreciate it. And figure I'm just going to end this video by pretending that I can get Vajirial from a ticket. But yeah, thank y'all once again for watching. I got more videos coming soon, and I hope you enjoyed this nice top 5 on Lancelot and Elliot. So without further ado, have a great day, everybody. Goodbye.